Yeah, both the films were produced by Film Division, and it is sort of a defunct arm of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Of course, earlier, at least in my childhood, this was a regular feature. Every time you went to see a film in a cinema hall, you had to sit through a 10, 15, 20-minute documentary which was produced by Film Division. But these two films specifically, you can only describe them as propaganda films. The technique used, the background score, the kind of photography. This is something that the world inherited from Germany, and it happened in Britain also during the war years. And the visual, and the audio sort of reminds you of those days. In fact, it reminds you of movies where you've seen newsreels showing about the war, screening about the war. And so, whereas the second one, which was supposedly a biopic of Sheikh Abdullah, was actually another interesting piece of cinema because of the way it jumped in its narrative. It was very, very, for a lack of a better word, like a Godard film. And it's the chronology or the time frames, the way they were going back and forth, and the big holes that it left in the narrative was very telling. It never mentioned a significant moment in history in 1947 when Nehru promised the plebiscite, for example. It never mentioned that. And the fact that Sheikh Abdullah later on formed the plebiscite front as well, demanding a plebiscite, was not mentioned. The reasons for his arrest in 1953 and the fact that he was the Prime Minister at the time, not Chief Minister, and the erosion of Article 370 since then, and also the special status, the fact that Kashmir had a special status was actually not mentioned in either of the films. And that is something that cannot be ignored. That is why there is a problem to begin with. Kashmir is a special case because of the events that took place, the history involved with partition and the two-nation theory, and this Muslim majority state bordering Pakistan and not being a part of Pakistan. So there was a lot of basic information that was missing, and which sort of led to seeped into the panel discussion as well. I think in that sense it was a healthy discussion. But I think we should just continue talking about Kashmir, because you will be seeing more and more films and varied narratives coming out, and there is no single narrative about Kashmir. So I think by the end of the festival you will have a pretty well-rounded view that you can at least have a look at Kashmir with a fresh perspective, if not a different one.